We're online. No rude words.
No rude words. Exactly. It's the future. No one swears in the future.
Damn right.
Unless, unless of
Wait,
course you're
wrong
watching
universe.
Picard.
Except the Romulans, exactly. The source of all that's bad in this universe. Romulans.
Goram Reavers.
Yeah.
And hello everybody and welcome to the further adventures of the USS Navis. Or at the very least it will be, as soon as our second officer gets here. Matt, you're still quiet, not as bad as last time though. Well, thanks for letting me know. It's probably because the engines on this thing are really, really loud. But I shall endeavour to be a little bit louder. How's that, sweetums? Oh,
Terrible.
These engines aren't loud, they're perfectly tuned.
Now I have an image in my mind of our esteemed chief engineer, Kano Vibers, going around with a tuning fork. Ding! Perfectly in sync.
Hyde's tuning fork behind back. No comment, Captain.
It's like that episode of Lower Decks when they're all trying to mimic with the soothing sound the warp core makes on different ships. No, it's more about.
No, that sounds more sovereign-like.
Any self-respecting engineer would, of course, go, no, it sounds like this. Woom, woom, woom.
Well, normally on Star Trek it sounds like a red alert siren with a female computer voice going, self-destruct in 20 seconds.
You're not having a warp core breach in my engine room.
Now I have to try and organise a warp core breach to happen at some point during this episode, just so I can have Commander Vibers go, No! You're not allowed! I told you once before, get out!
I will say this for Star Trek Voyager, they did have the best countdown to to a warp core breach in the Doctor's Fantasy World, where you literally had the computer go, warning, warp core will explode in much less time than you think.
I don't remember that one, but then I didn't watch a lot of Voyager towards the middle to late parts.
It's fine. We did program in the ECH, didn't we?
The emergency what hologram?
Command.
Oh!
It
case of
turns
all command
up,
staff
sits in
are
the
dead.
chair, and goes, fire!
Yes. There's also the EEC, the Emergency Engineering EEH, which just tells you to fuck off my engine room.
And of course there's emergency medical hologram that people don't like using because I've reprogrammed certain of its greetings.
Hello, you're not Moss.
Instead of please please state the nature of the medical emergency, it's greetings, are maculatum. And then I have to explain that it's lords and ladies, a plant.
Oh dear me.
The best jokes are the ones that make you laugh and make everyone else want to kill you.
And this is why Matt's only got one viewer on his.
I have indeed watched the number of viewers steadily decline as time goes on.
Yeah, always about the time I start talking about plant jokes.
And I
That is the
personally
stem
think
of the
that
issue.
makes it. I think that makes the channel rather than takes away from it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So...
So now we're past the root of the problem.
no plant jokes.
Oh
we're not
my
going down that
God.
route.
You're right.
See what I did there?
But don't worry, Vipers. If the engine explodes and brutally injures you, I'll be sure to stem the bleeding.
Right, let's just dig our way out of this conversation, guys.
We'll leave it alone now.
Let's put the pedal to the metal.
I'll
So,
just sit here and
previously
wait
in the
until
pub.
these jokes eventually wind themselves out.
Look, it's Davis and me playing off each other with bad puns. You're going to be here till like another 3 episodes if you wait for us.
I know what to name this episode then, won't I? Puns, take one. Okay. Well, in case anybody hasn't already realised it, yes, our esteemed helmsman will not be with us this evening. So we wish him all the best. He's apparently not feeling all that well, but he did give the okay for us to proceed without him. So we shall have Jan with us in spirit, at the very least. Hopefully he's listening now, or if he's listening back to the later recording, get well soon, Jan.
He's polishing his antennae.
Oh my.
Oh my.
I thought he had someone to do that.
Well, we shall see. Andorians apparently like to take it slowly.
I've just stream sniped again, and I'm going to point out he's still there.
Always listen.
Damn it, the
to
tune.
door.
It's just a running meme. He's always there. Go away.
It's almost like that's a very close and convenient place for me to park these secondary support characters. However, if it makes Sophia Andrews twitch with frightening regularity, then I may just...
You know, if you click on the stairs, Davis, you will go down to the engineering.
I know, but I think it's better just to hide in the corner.
Survivors is just round the corner. The turbo lift is open.
I can hear both from this location. It's good enough for me.
Vibers is where the chief engineer should always be at critical times. Gowkilling around in the corridor just outside the bridge.
No, it's fine. Vibers is just as well known as the chief engineer of Babylon 5.
Someone who watched Babylon 5 explained that to me.
He doesn't show up.
All you hear from the conference room is pop.
Oh. Isn't that Starfleet's national anthem?
And here I thought it was "Oh Canada," but there we are.
I just realised actually we were at a party the last time we were, and now we're just like, hey, we're back on the bridge. Oh, I'm being told to.
No, I believe we gathered up later to see who got Ractogino Hanovers.
Well, yes. If we do recall last time we were about, you had in fact received your new posting. So the crew of the Navis will now be operating out of Starbase 364, otherwise known as Narendra Station, placed under the joint command of Admiral April Hebert and General Kargan. But obviously, as Starfleet, you'll be getting your marching orders mostly from Admiral Hebert. But Narendra Station, yes, the first joint Klingon Federation construction, with the hopes of fostering continued good relationships between both factions, but also set up mainly to investigate the largely unexplored territories within the Shackleton Expanse. So, 3 ships from the Federation have been posted to Narendra Station, one of which, of course, being the Navis. The other 2 being the Galaxy-class USS Venture, yay, and the Intrepid-class USS Bellerophon. So, yeah. The crew, of course, last time were just basically introducing themselves. The Navis and 2 far less important ships, yes indeed. The crew of the Navis obviously introduced themselves to everybody that they needed to around the station. But the next day after arriving, they were given new orders from Admiral Hebert. The Navis, being a prototype vessel, what with her enormous power reserves with the secondary reactors, not to mention being one of the first ships to be served with quantum torpedoes in the fleet, has been given the task by Admiral Hebert to go along to Takara Prime, where the Takarans are petitioning for membership of the Federation, and in order to try and worm their way into the Federation's good graces, they have apparently been developing a new type of quantum torpedo. What with things in the Federation being a bit tense at the moment with the revelation of the Gamma Quadrant faction known as the Dominion being run by shapeshifters, and obviously the security concerns that entails, Starfleet has kind of gone on to a bit of a mid to high alert now. So
Kirk, I'd just like to point out, Kirk wasn't a shapeshifter. He just had a corset.
I don't know. He turned up decades after he died, inexplicably, and then immediately the flagship of the fleet was destroyed. Right about the time when shapeshifters suddenly became a thing of an evil empire. Do people really think that's coincidence?
And on that note, the Navis has been given permission to travel to Takara Prime in order to meet with the Takaran Weapons Research Division. Headbutts console. And all of a sudden fires quantum torpedoes by accident.
Accident.
Andrews! I told you no
Well,
falling asleep at the tactical console.
There's another best night shifter gonna have to clean up.
Yeah, no one ever thinks of poor Gamma Shift.
I think you'll find it's Alpha Team and Team Zoppo.
No, that's just what we tell you because you can't speak Latin.
Being the medic on board and being the most Latin proficient, yes, for all you know. Anywho, yes, you've been. The Navis has been told to meet with a member of the Takaran Weapons Research Division in order to help test fire the first working prototype of this new quantum torpedo that the Takarans have apparently developed. So, unless there's anything anybody wants to throw in the ring before we get started.
What was the spelling of Takaran again?
Takaran. I do believe. Just
Takran.
Absolutely sure I got that right. I am going to check.
Seems right.
I am going to check the Memory Alpha. The only place to go. Yep, that's the ones.
Yeah, Davis has already done it.
Star Trek point of view, those are very alien-looking aliens.
Can I ask everybody to
I'm not going to read the thing, but yes.
Please read through the general bit, but not through the whole entire page, please. Just in case of spoilers. I say spoilers. Obviously, this isn't the episode of The Next Generation that the Takarans actually come up on, but nevertheless, stuff I might not necessarily want you to remember as of yet. But that's what Takarans look like, yes. And for those who are watching the feed, ready.
Wait, who are you?
Explain.
They don't ask us to forget things, they just ask them trouble.
Sorry, that joke, if you can call it that, went past my head at sublight speeds. And then came around to check that I got it. Noticed that I missed it and went on its merry way. Tangent. So, yeah, anything anybody wanted to get done before the ship set off? Or are we just going to proceed as we go? As the ship is in transit.
I was tempted to spend some points, but no. I'm going to save my rep.
Sure.
Save it.
Say
I'm going
it.
to collect my handwritten notes and bother people with more questions.
Well,
Yeah,
if it's
who
Shaun
actually-
asking questions.
Who actually won the conversation of who's got the longest patience, Nova or the commander of the
Bellerophon.
Intrepid, the Bellerophon? Yeah.
Who's got the most patience? Remind
Is
me
he,
of
did he manage to rattle the
because-
Vulcan by
Because
by
Nova
just
was
talking
hyper.
it?
Yeah, Nova was
Right.
hyper on Rectagino coffee, asking like a million questions, and he was answering them.
What
So we're going to. It's kind of like a test to see who's got.
most
Does
staying
the
power?
Vulcan have more patience, or is Nova just that overpowering that even he can't? We also got Dr. Moss involved in that conversation as well, so it's like Moss and constant questions versus Vulcan logic. Who wins?
That needs to be Nova's new name, I think. Forget Erienne Nova. Her new name is Constance Questions.
So as we all know the plants were there before us, the plants will be there after us, so the plants always win.
As far as who won that conversation, if indeed conversation it was, what would have happened was Nova and Bertram would have won by default, because eventually the captain of the Bellerophon, remember his name?
Blackwood.
Say it like you want to say it.
Captain Blackwood.
Blackwood!
I'm not allowed to shout anyway. Someone's watching TV and they keep glaring at me. Saying, be quiet, Daddy. Oh, no, I'm not even talking that loud.
I
Be
get
quiet.
that too, it's fine.
Shh. Shh.
Sorry.
I'm gonna have to whisper for the next quarter of an hour.
Yes, Captain Blackwood of the Bellerophon would have eventually gotten tired of trying niceties, and would have eventually just asked his first officer to leave with him. So
Yeah, can we kind of tell Captain DeCast that that's a win for the Navis?
yeah, absolutely, and she's very much up for that. In fact, she probably would have been watching that exchange from the corner of her eye, trying her best not to smile the entire time. And yeah, high fives might have been exchanged afterwards.
No
That
one would
is-
accept that, not knowing what it was for.
Davis, were you about to say something?
So, there was a site note sent from engineering for captain's eyes only, on lines of, we have reprogrammed a replicator so that we cannot produce Ractaginos on board.
Or at the very least, you could produce Ractaginos, but the caffeine content has been significantly reduced.
Sucks to be Vipers. Espresso, 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 espresso. Hey Nova, do you want a coffee?
What are you on about? I'm the one who programmed it. Mine are fine. Everyone else's has no caffeine.
Oh.
You have to specify a very specific temperature in order to get ones with it which are properly caffeinated.
It's that meme that you posted a while ago, wasn't it? Where it's like, define temperature for hot at 4 million kelvins, and then Picard's like, tea, oh great, hot.
And that is how Q finally ended
His
Star Trek
rivalry
Next
with
Generation.
Picard,
Yeah.
yes. Just there, Q in the background, reprogramming the replicator, going. Well, or of course we can see the actual picture of John Delancey doing the chef's kiss.
Look at, oh, my Capitan. Is it a bit too hot for you to handle?
Oh my!
Oh, Video Ninja has finally kicked in for me.
Yay.
What?
Well, I was on the night shift, and the night shift is a lot more subdued. But of course, this is Alpha Shift. They are people of action. As we now
Meanwhile,
Natala has 2 chairs and I'm constantly moving between them.
Dr. Bertram has reprogrammed the EMH to have a more relaxed, friendly, and family-friendly kind of bedside manner.
Oh dear. Oh god.
which means I now have to check Discord.
God,
And
what did you
apparently
do?
it's Commando Riker with a xenomorph's head. And here I was expecting a killer clown that makes suspiciously sword-shaped balloon animals, but there we go.
No, that's the emergency command hologram. It's got to be intimidating to the Klingons.
And yet somehow I
Just-
picture it saying "Arr."
Why does the computer need to tell itself its own tactical analysis? I don't understand.
Because Star Trek. You could just as easily ask the problem: why do they not use that Telosian water that allows them to speed themselves up to Quicksilver level super speed that they used in one episode and then forgot about?
It's almost like Star Trek being an episodic series had a way of resetting itself at the beginning of every episode until, God rest his soul, Gene Roddenberry passed away.
Yeah.
And then
Then they
got Deep
invented
Space Nine.
section. Then they invented section 31. Hashtag 31 was right.
As long as
I'm
you
gonna-
don't piss off section 31A, we're fine.
I'm going to
They're
make
the
no
ones
comment on that whatsoever, just in case.
31A are the ones that judge just how hot is hot, and they don't use Kelvin. That's how advanced they are.
Well, are we all set to properly begin?
Yep.
Excellent. So, yeah, the ship has set off for Takaran space, which isn't that far away. But since this isn't exactly an emergency situation, you're not given leave to exceed warp 5, because we want to be kind to the environment. So, as a result, cruising along warp 5 means you get there within a good few hours. But eventually, you enter Takaran space and drop out of warp. So let's see. Exit warp. So, as soon as you do, you get a hail asking you to identify yourselves. Naturally, I imagine the captain at the very least would send a confirmation USS Navis acting on behalf of Admiral Hebert assigned to Takara Prime. It's a couple of moments, longer than you know it takes to actually confirm somebody's details. But nonetheless, within a reasonably short space of time, the Takaran space traffic control allows you to enter a geosynchronous orbit and gives you the coordinates to beam down to the weapons research facility that you were told to go to. So, any pre-preparations you want to make before you beam down? And, of course, the important question, who will be beaming down?
We've had something of a briefing on the Takarans. We don't know very much about their chief scientist, Dr. Gibran, we're meant to be meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the name was all you were given.
So weapons, that sounds like science and engineering are needed.
Yeah, and it's for a test firing, so possibly not the entire scenic crew are going to be attending the test detonation of an explosive device.
So, who would you like to send as an away team?
I think Natala's definitely on the list for this one, given quantum expertise, safety protocol expertise.
Mm-hmm.
I think as our weapons officer, I think Andrews would probably be on wanting to go and fire some quantum torpedoes.
Mm-hmm.
We need your professional opinion for evaluating them anyway.
Nova also being part of science and having that curiosity of hers would
Yep.
also probably be one who would volunteer very quickly to go.
She's also quite much of an expert on theories, experimenting, tinkering.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, The only one left to pick, of course, is somebody to maybe go instead of Dr. Bertram.
Oh, I'm thinking of possibly Bravo, because there must always be a Bravo. It's a universal constant.
So it's probably going to be engineer, Bravo.
At least as far as we know.
Let's just check actually. How many Bravos do we have? So we had Ensign Natique. We got the transporter chief. Nurse Bravo for medical.
We have nurse, security, engineering, and science, I believe,
Yeah,
currently.
so who would you
We
rather...
know that there's at least 5, but we've only defined 4 of them.
So
We've
who
got
would
some
you
people-
rather go? And the engineering Bravo or the science Bravo?
We got an engineer and 2 scientists and tactical, so I'll go as engineering, so we have a balance of engineering and science.
Alrighty. Cool beans.
Plus, if everything starts going to hell, he's got damage control expertise.
Yes.
Yeah, I know how to switch on the sprinklers.
Alright. So, as you are
Fine, I've
going...
left Bravo in charge
Sorry, go
of
on.
the core. Fine, I've left Bravo in charge of the core.
Yeah, so as you are going to the transporter room, I think I've got everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. As you're going to the transporter room, the XO Commander Linares goes with you, but of course doesn't beam down to the planet with you, he's just there to give you an appraisal. So, we're just there to observe, apparently, and also help with the test firing, so... Well, I trust a lot of you to make informed decisions, but if you need to, keep an open comm. Let us know what's going on. The Takarans are naturally very guarded people, so yeah, be on the lookout for anything that might give us a clue as to their motivations. If their motivations are to help the Federation with this situation that's developing with the so-called Dominion and the shapeshifters, well, we're authorized to say thanks. But, yeah. I'm sure I don't need to tell you all to keep your eyes open. Alright. Richard, when you're ready. Richard just wearily sighs and says, of course, Commander. 5 to beam down. And away you go. So, let me turn off the bridge. You eventually beam down onto a rather busy science installation. It looks pretty much like you would expect any science installation. Prefabricated, clean, a number of corridors that have clear windows for you to look in on experiments. You actually transport in on a transporter pad that you are then greeted by a female Takaran who has a large pad in her hands, and she asks you to follow her to show you to Dr. Jabren's lab.
Vipers, why
Sorry.
couldn't your lab be this tidy?
I need a bigger department.
Vipers, your department takes up more than the rest of the ship put together.
Bigger department, says the man whose main engineering comprises of 3 decks.
As an independent person who is a member of the Vipers Engineering Group, I believe that Commander Vipers is correct. Oh, sorry, we believe.
So,
Bravo, I used to like you more than the rest of your brothers.
We are Bravo.
So yeah, the female Takaran, the receptionist for all you can tell, she doesn't appear to have a lab coat or any kind of wouldn't say you don't know she hasn't got any qualifications, but she does seem to be more the receptionist and leads you down a few corridors. You're not sure if she's deliberately taking the scenic route, but you do go past more than a few laboratories on your way there, full of Takarans working on various projects. But eventually you are brought to a section where you pass, might see it, let me just check it.
What effect's going on? Sorry, Matt. The vision appears to be based primarily on Nova. Natala doesn't actually have vision on the map. So where I put my token doesn't really matter for what we can see, only for what I can do.
And the same appears to be for Bravo. So let me check what's going on there. Vision? Là.
Hijacked your Oculus.
Vision? Cela. Okay, you just didn't have vision activated, that was all.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, you go past some clear windows that indicate a rather large bank of, servers, basically. And you are eventually led to the door where Andrews and Vipers and Bravo are currently stood in front of. The assistant, the receptionist, she excuses herself and just punches a key command into the door. And inside, you see, well, a single Takaran male wearing a lab coat, just busily looking at a load of computer screens and holographic displays. And he seems to notice the door is open. Ah, Starfleet, I see. Come in, come in. I'm Dr. Jibran. We've been expecting you.
Pleasure to meet you, Doctor. Lieutenant Commander Sophia Andrews, tactical officer on board the USS Navis. This is Lieutenant Natala, operations. Lieutenant Commander Vibers, engineering. Lieutenant Natala, science, and Lieutenant Bravo, also from our engineering department.
Dr. Jibran, lead scientist on the prototype quantum torpedo project. So, you will be happy to know that computer modeling and simulated tests that we've been running have proven very promising. He types in some commands, and yeah, the holographic display does change to be the external layout of a quantum torpedo, standard quantum torpedo casing. It took some doing, as you can imagine, to improve on the already formidable design of the current Federation quantum torpedo. But myself and the rest of the team on board this project are confident that it will exceed expectations.
So,
This
with
is
your change,
yeah,
continue.
carry on.
With your changes you've made for the torpedo, is there any containment risks with these compared to standard, or?
Well, we hope not, but that is, of course, the point of purpose behind this first actual test. We have, for the most part, designed the casing on existing, tried, tested, and proven current quantum torpedo containment and casings, with obviously some modifications.
Sort of modifications.
Well, obviously the new system for expanding the explosive, destructive, I should say, properties of the existing model. But for safety's sake, we, myself especially, would caution the use of a transporter in the transporting of the first prototype to your ship. Have you been informed as to the exact nature of the test fire?
No, I was wondering what the suggested targets were for this test and such.
Oh, I see. Forgive me, I assumed that you had been briefed, but I suppose I'm more used to the bureaucracy telling me what's going on because I'm Takaran. So, yeah. Okay. The test fire procedure will be the following. The Takaran government has procured an old, used freighter. The former owner of the freighter has very generously donated it to us so that we could test fire the first prototype. The freighter has been towed to a location on the edge of Takaran space so that it is a safe enough distance from major space lanes, planets, anything that could be a potential hazard, or rather the torpedo could be a potential hazard too. So, our task, myself and yourselves, will be to transport the torpedo to the freighter, and we will then put the torpedo on the freighter, retreat to a minimum safe distance, and detonate the warhead remotely, and observe the results.
What are your expectations for this test?
Well,
How do you expect it to outperform?
as an example, our projected estimates are so far 100 isoton yield. To put that in context, a regular unmodified photon torpedo, as found amongst most species that use it in the galaxy, average around about 25 isoton yield. Current specification quantum torpedoes currently average around about 60 isotons. Projected isoton yield for this new model in the realms of 100. Which,
That's the explosive itself. For the casing, have you made any alterations from Federation standard that we should be aware of for flight control, that sort of thing?
flight control...
Other than the remote detonation?
Flight control, not so much. Thankfully, the Federation has had a great deal of experience with modifying photon torpedoes' guidance and flight systems to be extremely easily interchangeable and modifiable. Something that I am, quite frankly, envious of. Takarans keep things so close to their chests that we always end up having to butt heads against what's deemed as intellectual proprietary information. As such, we were able to basically use what's already been tried and tested.
How have you altered the containment inside to hold a larger yield without altering the casing?
Yes, we believe we have. But that, of course, becomes the point and purpose of the test fire. But every effort has been spared to ensure that an inert torpedo is still as safe as standard quantum torpedoes. Incidentally, Matt would just like to point out the following. Especially those in engineering. Every Starfleet starship, especially a warship like the Navis, has the capability of manufacturing more torpedoes on board, unless they're quantum torpedoes. Quantum torpedoes currently are still very difficult to easily manufacture, whereas photon torpedoes are, they're easy. They're nothing. So if the Navis eventually ran out or wanted to ration its quantum torpedoes for whatever reason, the engineering crews could then start manufacturing photon torpedoes, because they're easy, really easy to manufacture. Quantum torpedoes, though, not quite so much. Dr. Chagrin speaks up again at this point. But containment should be fine. We have reinforced the casing enough that the new warheads should be more than adequately shielded. In that regard, I was wondering if I could get the specifications of your ship so that I could more accurately work out the minimum safe distance required for the test fire.
In terms of our defensive ability,
I would rather that it is very limited knowledge that you are given access to. The specifications of the ship shouldn't impede or benefit the firing of the torpedo in any way.
even
this
if we
is
were to grossly overestimate the potential yield of the warhead by, a considerable factor, if we were to base the safe distance on 1,000 isoton yield rather than your recommendation, your expected 400, we could easily maintain sensors on it from a considerable distance.
I'm sure, but better to be safe than sorry. The smallest detail could be important, especially since I was given notice that your ship is a prototype.
I'm going to have to decline that. You can have the specifications that are in standard registry access for for the Federation starships. It is documented on what the specifications of the Akira class ships are, but there is some level of security restraint that must be in place because,
as you say, it is a prototype.
Commander Andrews, does this look appropriate? Showing a pad over with some with shield specs in my predecessor ship, and
so you're giving him the information on
or a standard Akira,
a basic standard Akira model.
yes.
No, actually, well, we're a prototype. There isn't a standard at this point, so it's the models that we're replacing in service. So it's the slightly older generation and stuff, more the Galaxy's generate equivalent. Just it's shield and defensive specs from that, so we'll have more than the specs we're giving him.
So
Matt.
Sorry, yes.
I was just going to say, because the sort of like both sides pressing the point, as a bait side, do I sense any undue tension or frustration with him? Like he's very eager to notice, he's again frustrated with not being.
Well, you'd expect from as he says, the Takarans are used to coming up against paperwork a lot.
Yeah, considering that's their culture, like he just said a moment ago, pressing for very specific information like that seems an interesting sort of initial response. Maybe Lieutenant was just.
Can I get the Betazoids to give me an insight plus command check each?
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what the difficulty is. I just want to see. Whoa!
Nova's just like la 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 la. I press the buttons, I get to the answer.
Alright, can I ask Shaun and Gareth to accompany me to the ready room, please? This will, of course, render everyone else inaudible to us, but we'll go from there.
Hey
So,
guys,
Okay.
Christ, quick, join the stream. Join the stream.
now, I'm watching you. Excuse me.
So will we be.
We're replaced by evil zombies.
Right,
We are
what-
now shapeshifters.
Right, Shaun, just out of point, I have been sending whisper messages to you via Foundry.
I saw that he was anxious and disappointed.
Yeah. So, yeah, bravo, since you've actually asked me to look.
Yep.
The moment you came into his office, Dr. Jibren was anxious. But you've just pointed out that Takarans keep things close to their chests, and he is revealing information. So you could explain that away. However, the moment he started asking for ship specifications, your ship specifications, his anxiety went up. When Andrews refused steadfastly for the second time, he got disappointed and his anxiety has gone up again. Make of that what you will, and we will go back to the bridge.
Okay.
Excuse
To
us.
the bridge.
100.
Alrighty
It's not
then.
that far off. Shit, size-wise, it really isn't that far off.
And we're back. So, just to clarify for me, just to put it in words that a simpleton like myself can understand, what were you actually doing, Dallas? What was Vibers actually giving to the doctor?
Vibers had got his pad out
Uh-huh.
and had gone, this is the rough layout of our ship, but I'm swapping some of the stats with older ship designs so that we're giving him stats that are worse than our ship.
Right, so you've given him the outline of what a standard Akira class looks like, so that still means
This is
engines,
what-
engines are going to be there, external sensors are going to be there, backup generators are going to be
Yeah.
there. That's the computer
So this
core.
is-
But the
that's the
specs
sort
But then the
of
are
numbers
little
are coming
bits.
from like a saber or something.
Yeah, but those sort of stats about where things are and that's the sort of thing they could have got from their traffic control scans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the actual
So
specifications
Yeah.
of the individual systems are from older model.
Yeah, so we were just discussing
stuff.
we were just discussing that and saying that it was the New Orleans class is probably on the closest fits for
Okay.
that.
yeah, it's an older
which are-
model.
yeah.
We're
You
about
also only
40,
showing that we've got
50% more
one court then.
We're about 40-50% more shield capacity than what it shows.
Hmm.
But
It makes
it's fine
sense to
with
drop one of the cores out entirely. Half the power that he thinks.
no, if we tell them it's got two cores, they can pick that up from normal scans. There's no point trying to hide that.
But that's part of us being a prototype. That's not standard.
Yeah, but if traffic control scans can pick it up, there's no point trying to hide it. If it's the sort of thing you go, that's got two big engine things that glow on my sensors. It's kind of obvious.
Okay, so is everyone alright with Vibers doing what we've just discussed?
I think it is a compromise.
I'd be interested to see his reaction to being shown something.
I'm not sure that Natala has noticed.
Well, Natala is very close to the holographic schematic of the
Yeah.
weapon, so you know. Give me just a second to fill the betazoids in on something then. So, let me first send this.
Close enough.
So just to be sure you know where to look, it's going to be appearing for you guys in the chat column of Foundry, not Discord. Yeah, Dr. Jibran just looks at the schematics and just kind of he just nods. Mm-hmm. Well then.
Is there any irritation or increase in his aura feelings? Like he's not getting what he wants, sort of thing.
See, I can't say most of this out loud because then those who aren't beta Zs will hear me. So I have to type this. So hopefully if you're all watching a proper resolution, you should see that. But apologies if not.
Cowboy Vibers has another budge jumped up.
Whilst Natala is looking at stuff then, let me get a... Let's see. Reason plus science or reason plus engineering, and Natala's quantum mechanics comes in as a focus here.
I insist, since I've been reading that as well.
Because Nova's been and Bravo have both been picking up on Jibren's moods and have been kind of focusing on that. No.
Doesn't look like she needs it anyway.
Yeah. 3 successes. Right. John, can I get you to come with me to the radio, please? Back in a moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so let me see. What did you get? Yeah. The simulated tests. The information from it. Yeah. The torpedo doesn't seem to act in the same way that a quantum torpedo does. In fact, the power source of the torpedo does not appear to be a regular power source like you would find in a photon torpedo or a quantum torpedo. It appears to be coming from something like a micro-singularity. In fact, the detonator itself, the warhead, seems to be tied into the power source, which would give the impression that the detonation of the torpedo implodes the micro-singularity. Which would then cause
so it's
damage
more
to the
like
structures.
a Romulan Warcore breach rather than because ordinarily a quantum torpedo. I watched this episode fairly recently, but it's still only vague in my mind because it's a very Star Trek-y word.
Yes.
Is it produces a 0-point energy situation with effectively for a minute amount of time infinite power is being generated, and then it lets that collapse whilst firing effectively an ordinary photon torpedo plasma discharge through it.
Yeah,
Which-
it's the way it was explained. I had it explained to me, which makes a heck of a lot more sense. Is if you think of a quantum torpedo like a regular naval torpedo that we have these days, and you imagine the ocean as space, and that's the plane of 0-point energy, normal.
Yeah.
The torpedo, a naval torpedo, goes and when it impacts against a naval ship, it detonates. But when it detonates, it also causes a blast bubble. So the point of impact generates the explosion goes off. That generates energy, heat, but also you get the blast bubble, which causes more damage. And then
And in this case, the damage would be at a quantum level, which is
Yes.
incredibly disruptive.
And then the bubble collapses and then causes a spout, which again causes more force to go back another way. So that can easily shear through most ships. Now, a quantum torpedo generates subatomic particles as well as a high yield explosion. So a quantum torpedo kind of uses space itself to attack a structure at its atomic level or slightly beyond, and then uses the explosive yield to just basically blow atoms apart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
It
but,
took me
but from the
4
looks of it,
attempts to understand that today.
yeah, but from the looks of it, this still is acting at the quantum level in that way. So it's still interacting with the 0 point of energy to reach that quantum state. But it's not. It's effectively, rather than being like a plasma torpedo, like a photon torpedo,
It's
it
a mini black
is.
hole torpedo.
It's a mini black hole in the same way Romulan engines work. Okay.
However you
yeah.
choose to do this, use this information, I leave entirely up to you. Any other questions?
Based off of that information, would I expect it to? Okay, so both of that's 2 levels at which this thing works with weird particle emissions. In that, it's for one thing, quantum torpedoes work with releasing weird particle emissions at the kind of subatomic level to cause the damage, and also things like singularity cores we know make weird particle emissions, which is why we can track them with monoton detection and that kind of thing. Is because they release weird black holey particles. So am I thinking that those 2 things are 2 things you shouldn't mix, or am I or
You don't detect the presence of 0 point generators. It's just a microsingularity container. So
instead of rather than as well as?
instead
Okay.
of. So it's using the microsingularity as a means of power generation for the propulsion.
Would Natala have information on the expected effective yield of being nearby to a Romulan warp in detonation?
Well, you can postulate. I mean, obviously, a warbird probably has a reactor, and a microsingularity would be the size needed to power a massive ship. This is something compacted into a much smaller size.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be something that tears up subspace.
And it would be more like implosions rather than explosions as well.
Yeah, because you're creating, a hole in space.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty?
Yep.
Alright, back we go.
Much more superior.
Sorry, we had to talk science there.
Exactly.
There was a lot of science.
Science!
So, yes.
Science!
Well then, Dr. Jabren says finally. Well then, since I've got specifications, I will tell the security folk to release the prototype. I will ask for perhaps a shuttle to come down from your ship, the Navis, in order to pick up the prototype. I really do not want to risk a transporter with this just yet. So,
That's
if you
fine.
could,
Is it not beneficial to actually use the shuttle itself to transport the torpedo?
well,
And-
if you can call the shuttle down, we can place the torpedo on the shuttle and have it carried back to your ship that way, is what I was alluding to.
yes, but
that was
our
the
question now is why does it need to go to the ship?
Because,
If we are carrying,
sorry, go on.
if we're carrying out a controlled detonation of the of this prototype torpedo, then transporting it directly on the shuttle itself should be sufficient.
Yes, but the sensor suite on a larger ship like yours would be more adept at picking up.
That's fine, but the ship doesn't need to be transporting the torpedo.
If you want the shuttle to be transporting the torpedo and stay outside of your ship at the same time, then that is a reasonable safety precaution that I can get behind, certainly. The shuttle
It's-
can then dock independently with the freighter, with the derelict freighter, and the torpedo can be offloaded onto the freighter there, that way. Sure.
Is the safety of transporting the torpedo the reason you're so anxious?
He kind of... he hesitates before he speaks.
Give him a smile.
This is... There is a lot of pressure on me. The Weapons Research Bureau assigned me this task, and they have made it very clear that this must succeed.
May I ask what prompted the line of research that led you to this development?
Myself and the rest of the team were experimenting with different ways of trying to increase the yield of the standard quantum torpedo. Improving on the already impressive design was proving difficult, therefore a new approach had to be attempted. This, so far, appears to be the one that has succeeded using the scientific method, at least as far as the data and the simulations suggest.
That's a. On the one hand, that's a fine way of answering. On the other hand, it doesn't really answer it at all. Effectively, you're saying we were trying to make a better quantum torpedo, stopped and found this. I was asking what led to this particular avenue of creating such a weapon.
I really cannot say. Betazoids. I feel pretty confident in letting everybody else know. His aura is screaming "Ah!" round about now. I had no better way of describing it.
Bravo isn't intended to say anything until we're basically out of outsiders' presences.
Nova, do you want to get a shuttlecraft ready?
My
Sure.
daughter just came to quickly check that I'm alright after hearing me scream. I'm fine, sweetie, it's all good.
Wait, I've just realised, didn't we have 3 momentum a minute ago?
You had 3 momentum carried over from last time, but at the start of each new session you lose 1.
Ah.
I, however,
I
maintain my
see.
2 threats per player. So.
No, but there's only 5 of us.
Yes,
Ah!
my threat carried over from last time, so... It's not my fault you lost one today.
Yeah, so I think I would quite... Andrews would be happy with the arrangement of using the shuttle to transport the torpedo.
And keeping the shuttle just slightly off the ship, but still within visual.
Oh yeah,
range.
keeping it well clear. The ship is going to be well out of range of that damn thing. Close enough to engage if someone suddenly drops out of warp and fires on it, etc. But
I volunteer to be on a shuttle.
Okay.
Both runabouts
What-
in the
what-
list
why be on the
hours,
shuttle?
aren't they?
Because then I can examine.
She gets to
I get to tinker.
The problem is when it explodes, we'll go, oh god, reason for failure, Nova.
The Carpathia and the Californian, there are runabouts.
Yeah.
Yes, and we are not using the Carpathian or the Californian.
Why not?
We're using both in
They've
There's
got
both of them going
external
to each have a
torpedo
rope tied to the torpedo.
both got external torpedo launchers and reasonably good sensor suites.
Micro torpedo launchers, I hasten to note.
I'm sure
Yeah, but I could swap that out for a full one. It only needs a magazine size of 1.
Or plan B, when the time comes, Nova, you open a hatch and throw the torpedo.
Just give it a kick.
Give it a kick. Are you sure that's what you want to do with an experimental explosive?
I mean, given that a micro torpedo is about the size of a large milkshake, and a torpedo is about the size of a casket.
It
Conveniently
is the
enough.
size of a casket. We
Yeah.
launch our dead bodies in them.
Mm-hmm.
A planet's called Genesis.
Yeah, it's like a coffin, except it can kill people rather than just look after them after they're dead.
Again, Starfleet thinks of
Multi-purpose
everything.
engineering.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't do at least 5 things, it's not doing its job. That's the invention of the phaser.
That's why our sister ship, the USS Derby, refers to their torpedo launchers as coffin drops.
Ooh, very niche reference there, Gareth. Well done.
Yeah, but how many wrestling jokes have we made since this campaign began?
Good point.
Forest one?
Dr. Jibren said, well, if there's nothing else, then I will talk to the security folks about getting the torpedo ready to be received by your shuttle. And I will be accompanying you on board your ship, if that is agreeable.
Can we have a copy of the specifications so we can get appropriate sensors and things calibrated?
I will be collecting all of my notes. I will bring them with us.
Okay, if you can send me a copy of what sort of things your team will need, and then I'll make sure it's ready for you.
There's no need for my team to come along. It will be just myself.
And are there particular range of sensors that you think would be that you might recommend that we might otherwise not consider?
Well, that was the point and purpose behind having the specifications of your craft, to see if there were any modifications I needed to make to your sensor suite, as well as the main deflector dish, the shields, that kind of thing. To protect the ship in case things go wrong.
Oh, yes, beyond the, of course, necessary safety measures, I was wondering whether you might have any insights into what sort of, beyond purely, one of the things with any quantum weaponry is to analyze the subspatial distortion created by them, rather than ordinary yield of damage, because the entire point of them, of course, is what effect it has on a quantum level.
Of course. Well, I'm sure I will need to speak to your operations officer in order to of course, get clearance to add more resources to the main sensor suites.
Nova?
Oh, you're the operations specialist, I see. My apologies.
So yeah, if you could provide that information of what you want to.
Of course. Whilst we're in transit, of course. Well then, this is a very important occasion. I'd better get the clearance sorted. Feel free to see yourselves back to your ship. If you wish to stick around, then I'm sure somebody can direct you to the shuttle landing pad, where he will no doubt find myself and the prototype. Until then, well, I look forward to seeing this ship of yours. Dr. Gibran kind of walks out at this point.
So as soon as he's out of the room, and before we all go our separate ways for who's going with the prototype and who's going back to the ship immediately, this is not a quantum torpedo in any expected way.
How so? Well,
for a start, it doesn't use any of the ordinary functions of either the first prototype quantum torpedoes and carrying through to the ones that we use are effectively photon torpedoes with an upgrade suite, or plasma torpedoes with an upgrade suite that it uses a series of 0-point modules to enrich the detonation with energy that disrupts at a quantum level. This doesn't do that. It doesn't use any 0-point modules. It doesn't use any plasma or photon detonation. This is effectively a miniature singularity core warp breach.
Noted he was anxious from the beginning, but we sensed that the more the conversation went, the more anxious he became. He was especially anxious and disappointed and frustrated when we repeatedly refused to give him stats for the ship. That seemed to be where his anxiety was mostly cornered on. That and when Lieutenant Nova confronted him on being overly anxious, he suddenly got, I would actually describe, scared.
Commander Andrews, I'd like to put in the anti-Romulan security measures on the ship's core, if that's okay. On the computer core.
Anti-Romulan security measures?
In other words, whatever we can do to make sure that that no unauthorized access happens and people don't get in.
Cool.
We isolate. It would be worth conversing with the captain and the commander on this, but my recommendation is that we isolate the sensor pad for this particular, because something about this, if he's overly anxious, this doesn't seem like you say to be a standard quantum torpedo. This is a different type of torpedo if it doesn't follow the same quantum
This is
principle.
effectively either a brand new type of torpedo or at least one that we're not aware of yet. I would fully expect the Romulans to have done significant research into this long before we got to it.
Well, in addition, Lieutenant Commander Vibers, when you gave him the schematics, I'm pretty certain that his feelings gave the indication of doubt. I don't believe he believes what you gave him was what he was wanting, if that makes sense.
Good.
It's
That's just an
not
indication of
good.
him being smart, isn't it?
So we called bullshit on my specs. Sounds
But
about
he
right.
did not say anything,
Yeah.
interestingly.
Well, neither did we. When we clearly found that he was lying, and we didn't call him on it.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's behaving in a rational manner.
But if he now knows we know, then he's got time to put in a secondary plan.
Question: do we actually have the ability to contact the ship?
Yeah.
So if it makes us wonder if he knows we're lying and he's scurried off, are they going to attempt to prevent us from contacting the ship and warning
Right.
them?
Okay. I think it's worthwhile that some of us return to the ship. I am adamant that that torpedo does not get close to the Navis at all. And that would be my security recommendation to the captain and the commander as well.
I'll get some specs put together to get a full-size launcher on the shuttle.
No, it doesn't even need to launch it. It's just going to be used.
Yeah, we're just going to drop it off.
If it
Drop it
doesn't
off
need,
and
we don't need a
detonate it.
test of the actual transit.
If this is a black hole generator, which is effectively, if I'm correct in my
that would
assumptions,
be
the
my
Romulans
assumption, yes.
use as a drive core, then the explosive yield will be in the range of what its bomb level is. But this technology, how much information have you managed to gather between you all of just being subtle and observations about the type of technology? Is it Takaran in
It could
origin,
be.
or is there external influences?
I would fully expect there to be external influences, but I could not confirm that based on the technology alone, as I'm not overly familiar with the current technology. It certainly could be the current throughout, but
I think that we remotely operate the shuttle. In fact, as a peacekeep, we say that we will overfit the shuttle with additional sensors so that keep it in close range.
We could
actually,
put
I'd be quite happy to do
ENH on
that.
it.
Um,
That
No, I
might
haven't got a
require
folder.
the engineering
Yeah.
folks to do some work.
Yeah, if we were going to make any changes, I would absolutely go with improving its sensor suite rather than trying to fit it with a torpedo launcher. I
Okay.
always like more sensors.
So, what would you like to do? Or shall we just assume everybody's going back to the ship now?
Yeah, I would assume that Andrews would stay as part of the loading oversight of the loading requirements,
Okay.
But
because
we're not
obviously this is
planning
now
on leaving anyone on the shuttle itself.
yeah, because this is now transferring over to it being a Federation led part of the operation. Is that Andrews would ensure that the that the torpedo is securely loaded and safely stowed on board the shuttle, but the shuttle is then remotely piloted to the destination.
Okay. Modifications to the shuttle would have to be made. It might take a little time to do, and considering they're expecting the shuttle to come down soon, I mean, if you want to be covert about it, of course, you're going to have to give some excuse for why the shuttle isn't coming down.
Well, I think
soon.
that we don't need to be convert at all
Yeah.
because he's asking for more sensors, and we
Yeah.
can give him more sensors.
Yeah, we can give them a point blank additional sensor relay if they give us an hour or so to kind of overhaul the shuttle once the torpedo is in position.
What if we bluff them and do it en route? So we can start upgrading the sensors, but then install the remote drive while it's en route. So there's people on board that then transport out.
I still don't like having people on board unless absolutely necessary.
We
You're
don't
still
need
going to be
to
stood like
install any-
next to this thing at some point.
Yes.
We don't need to install anything to control this remotely.
It's
But
already
we
got
do
some
need to
functionality.
put some kind of protection in case it's got remote hacking capabilities.
Ordinarily, for remote hacking of our torpedoes, we use. Is it a. What is it? There's a term for this. Is it ThoronNet?
I'll have to go with your knowledge on this.
It's fine. I can. Give me an hour. Me and Bravo can get a shuttlecraft set up with the usual prefix code and preset programs.
Okay. So.
If it's set with preset things, then it can't do anything that's not in the preset list. So.
But they may be altering their plan if we've now told them that we don't want this on the ship, and if their target is the ship, they're going to try and find a way to get it to the ship.
I haven't come to that assumption as yet, but I don't know that anyone's going to make an attempt on the ship for certain. But
I thought that
it's
was the whole point of us having a shuttle.
No, that is, I don't trust this as being a bomb.
It's a bomb. It go boom. We don't.
it'll
want to take
certainly
it
it'll
down that
certainly
prototype.
cause an implosion, and a significant one. But yeah, it's more that they probably didn't come up with this technology themselves, and they're probably being undue influenced by another power. I suspect the Romulans purely based on it being singularity tech, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But yeah,
Again, says that the perfect demonstration would be to blow up a Federation vessel.
Mm.
We're pretty certain this is a bomb. We're pretty certain that they want it on our ship. The target is the ship.
or for us to do something with it and be framed for using it, but then it's an odd technology for us to use in such a thing.
So, first things first then, the engineers here present are going to have to do some modifications to the shuttle to increase its sensor capabilities, I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Happy to help.
you guys, well, they're both engineers, they can probably do do the actual physical modifications themselves.
We've also got two sensor experts here for you know.
So you guys are best for programming the sensors. So the engineers to actually lay the extra sensor suites in, and the two science peeps to do the necessary programming and whatnot. So first things first, then I am going to assume that the chief engineer is going to be the lead. So
Aye.
both you guys are probably going to go with, let me see, I'm going to go with insight and engineering.
Do I get to pull in hardworking or fixer-upper?
Fixer-upper if you want to use determination to ensure success by generating 2 automatic successes, yes. You would use a point of determination to do that.
How many
It's up to
points
you.
of determination do we have?
You each
Start
have
with
3
3.
When do they reset?
at the beginning of a new episode, basically.
Oh, go on then.
To my knowledge, I've never actually used one.
So rather than scoring fixer-upper, so that check button that you just used to make fixer-upper scored, that's something different. Occasionally,
Okay.
you can have your values challenged, and if your value was challenged, like if I, as the GM, bring in an NPC who challenges your value, challenges you on your value, and your actions then maybe suggest that your point of view on this particular value may have changed, either stronger or less, then you know, that'll mean underscoring it so that you can see you might need to reevaluate that value later. Otherwise, to spend a value, to use a value, just click one of the points of determination, the 3, and it'll take that off. So you've used a point of determination. There you go. You've got 2 remaining.
Okay. Was I rolling to assist?
You are rolling to assist, so you only need to roll 1 dice.
1 dice. Yep.
And that was going to be, what did I say? It was insight and engineering. So 1 success there,
Yep.
3 successes there, but a complication. I'm going to take that complication and add 1 to threat. But you've got 3
Yeah,
successes.
we can deal with that.
You got
4
3
successes, wasn't it?
with 4 with
So-
4th success. So
Yep.
I'm going to go with, it was only a challenge 2, so you've generated 2 on that.
Woo!
Woo!
So the engineering boys, with the chief engineer working very hard, have completely outfitted the sensor suite. You basically pulled it out and slapped a load of bigger ones on. And you've managed to integrate it into the existing power cell expertly, so that it's ready to use. Now we just need the 2 sciences to create the appropriate programs so that the ship's computer knows what to do with all this extra sensor data.
It's all a software problem now. Good hook.
Yeah. So, who's going to be the lead on this, Natala or Nova?
I think Natala's the sensor expert.
Okay,
Oh, go
so
for it.
yeah, so this is going to be insight plus science, and Natala can indeed add sensor operations. As for Nova, not really, nothing else there, but you still get to do the 1 dice to assist on insight and science. No successes, but you get 2 successes on that. So yeah, mostly Natala bangs
Nova's
out.
helping.
Nova
Nova's
is
more
helping,
interested
but
in the bomb.
Nova is actually more fascinated by the means by which the engineering boys have managed to create these modifications, and therefore doesn't
Right, you
help.
best not to take them apart.
Yeah. But is then warned of actually modifying them in any, or changing them, or touching them in any way. Oi, get off! So it's mostly all down to Natala to add the extra computational processes into the shuttle's computer to understand the data it's getting and can then relay it in an understandable fashion back to the Navis itself. With those ultra successes, you're also able to add in the what's the word I'm looking for? guidance. The guidance system can be done remotely and can have a safety feature lodged in that it will not proceed any closer towards the Navis than a set distance. Any attempt to do so just turns off the power. If that sounds agreeable.
It does.
Alrighty.
Or at least it is unable to maintain that course.
So, guys who are going back up to the ship can do so. Whereas Andrew stays back to obviously see to the loading of the shuttle. But either way, we're going back to the bridge for now. So, the engineering boys and the science guys work on the shuttle. They retrofit it, they outfit it, and it all works beautifully as intended. Andrews oversees the torpedo being brought onto the shuttle. You see it loaded in, it's put in the rear compartment, it is braced down with means technical and mundane. So, kind of like mini tractor beams as well as good old-fashioned straps and buckles. And, you're able to supervise its remote piloting up to orbit. And soon after,
We would also, I think it's also
back.
worthwhile that the shuttle shields are raised to prevent anyone from teleporting in or out of it.
Yep, indeedly do.
Does anyone want to
you-
take a runabout to go check out that freighter that we're targeting before we get there?
I think it might be worthwhile as well.
Am I assuming that we'll be briefing the captain and that before, basically when we get up there before anyone like Dr. Jabren comes up to let them know of our concerns?
Okay, yep, sure, if you want to do that now. So,
Okay.
You basically fob the doctor off by giving him a quick tour of places.
Yeah.
Nothing so that he's able to get any definite, detailed reading on anything, but someone's just showing around the ship. Maybe the ship's counsellor. The ship's counsellor that we haven't seen yet.
No, we'll send him round with Latude.
Latude, even better. Now, if you send Latude, he's going to want to get shot of Doctor.
Damn it, Latude!
He's going to want to ditch the doctor.
Out of
something
interest,
else.
if I open the door, am I the only one that can see Latude?
Don't know.
No,
I can see Bravo. Yeah.
I think we've got shared vision. So.
Yeah, if I could just click on Andrew, it's the only person that I can see. I can't see Bravo even though.
Oh,
he's
you can't
there.
see Bravo. Okay,
No, with
I've
the
got
door
shared
open.
vision with you. I think.
Because I can see
seeing to that
Latude.
now.
Okay. Yep. Okay. If I properly select Natala, I don't have shared vision. Okay.
But yeah, some of you can see, some of you can't. Some of you just will see the whole thing rather than the restricted vision. Doesn't tend to matter all that much. Anywho's.
Once we're back up in space, can I turn the shuttle's sensors in on of itself and start monitoring for any power fluctuations or changes in the torpedo itself?
Actually,
Okay,
getting a detailed internal scan of the device as well.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
I want to
sure.
learn everything I can about it, but also monitor for any changes.
You can lead on that, but I'll certainly assist.
Sure. Okay, then in that case, yeah.
And I'm going to use how does this work, if that's all right.
Wow, okay, we're going full-on determination. So you're using sensor scans to give a detailed analysis of the thing. Okay, right. In that case, that's going to be control plus science, aided by the ship. The ship will use, if I can find it. Where'd it go? Where'd everybody go? Navis. Ships. Gareth, you can be the ship as usual on this.
Okay.
If you want to use,
I am the Navis.
Sensors plus science as an assist, so only one dice. And
Okay.
Natala, you can use control plus science with your focus of sensors.
Can I throw a focus in that inner workings as well?
Inner workings?
Is the ship doing? Sorry. Is the ship doing an assist? I take it.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're using... No, that's a good point. It's using the shuttle sensors. But what the heck? It's reeling it by
sorry.
the ship sensors. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
No help from the ship.
Also,
Okay.
also we can re-roll one
Yeah,
dice
but-
because of my talent, technical expertise, which can even be the ship's dice, because it is a task assisted by the computer or sensors.
So you can re-roll that if you want then, Gareth.
Okay, I'll reroll it.
But with 4 successes and 2 successes...
We wanted 7
Still no
successes on one roll.
successes.
The ship doesn't like you.
Shit's angry at me.
Alrighty. So you definitely get over and above. You even get an extra 2. You got 2 momentum over.
So that's what, 4 questions?
That's quite a few questions. Yeah. So the sensor scan you run indicates that, right, yes, contrary to what you know how a regular quantum torpedo works, rather than going into the specifics of how a quantum torpedo works, because it took me 4 attempts to get that in my head.
We've established that it's not that.
It's not that. So where the normal bits you would expect for a quantum torpedo to be is not there. Everything seems to mostly be going off of the power core, which appears to be generating a microsingularity. It's currently held in, I wouldn't say stasis, but it's in a neutral, contained
Stable
state.
Yeah.
But with that level of a detailed scan, you can determine that the warhead, in a very similar means to a standard photon torpedo, has got standard warhead setting of either remote detonation or impact detonation. But contrary to how a photon torpedo or a quantum torpedo works, rather than the warhead activation thing triggering the process of it, the explosion, it then seems to tie into the microsingularity power core. Now you have 4 questions that you can ask. So,
For
wow.
the first question, could we reasonably interrupt the ability to remote detonate this without causing fail-safes?
Since this is everybody, does everybody agree that that is a reasonable question to spend as one of the 4 questions?
Yeah, it might come up.
Yeah.
What was the question you were going to ask, Shaun?
Is this thing capable of anything other than just being a bomb?
Okay, so maybe we'll save that for the next question.
Sounds good. If you say it's a very good paperweight, that's not a good
I'll
was a
accept that
ruse
as an
this
answer.
entire time.
Erienne would put that as a footnote.
All right. Question 1. Can you determine the... Yeah, so with that level of detailed scan, you can determine the frequency that will be used for the remote detonation, and yeah. You reckon that you could, given enough warning, send a signal that would interrupt the detonation sequence? Yes. You would possibly need to have it prepared ahead of time, but now that you know what it is, I'm not going to need a roll for that at all. It's just going to be a... You can create an emergency subroutine to activate with a click kind of thing, a button press. Sean, second question. Is it capable of being anything other than a bomb? As it currently sits, it appears to have 2 functions. Propulsion and explosion. Two questions left.
I think one of them should probably be what Andrew's asked Natala, which is basically, could this be Takaran tech, or is it definitely Romulan tech.
Okay. Bearing in mind the Takarans are cagey and the Romulans are paranoid to a fault, there are, to date, only hypotheses as to what Romulan technology looks like. Now, there is the advantage that at some point, and I believe it was Ensign Roe Laren and Commander Geordie LaForge managed to get a look at a Romulan singularity core at some point when they were briefly on board of a Romulan warbird. But that also was a prototype, if I remember, that went horribly, horribly wrong. So
there is also there was a reported incident where the Enterprise did assist a Romulan warbird that was going for a singularity collapse.
Which was frozen in time.
Yes.
So there are good guesses. There are educated guesses as to what Romulan tech, singularity tech, would be. This torpedo fits that general hypothesis of what Romulan singularity core tech would be were it miniaturized. Last question. Oh, I haven't engaged. Bridge sounds. Need bridge sounds. Too quiet. Last question then. Have a good old think. If indeed you need a last question.
What year? Right, this is off the cuff question, but what year are we in again? I can't remember when it is.
Right, we are
2370, wasn't it? You think? We said because it's
I
a
gave
year
the star
after.
date as 48483.2.
Okay, that is awesome. That.
So, we are 1 week away from when Odo kills that changeling on the Defiant.
Okay, yeah. So right, so we're 16 years away. Well, 15-ish, 15 years away from the destruction of Romulus as well. I was just trying to work out timescale wise.
It's still a planet. There's still a big problem.
Yes, yeah. The Romulan Star Empire is at its peak.
We haven't had the whole oh god, was that a
Actually,
warbird problem yet.
What's the anticipated yield?
That he stated.
100.
No. From the sensor scan.
Oh,
What do
what's
we
our
believe?
estimate?
Yeah, what is our estimate, and is there going to be a potential subspace distortion which will have a greater effect than a standard
Well,
torpedo?
the answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. What would be our estimate for the yield of this singularity?
You definitely agree that the 100 isoton yield seems to be a reasonable projection. You imagine that the hypothesis seems to be that the torpedo implodes the singularity, which causes damage to physical structures and to subspace in the vicinity of the implosion, essentially creating a rupture in subspace that prevents a stable warp field. So employed as a weapon, this could also hypothetically knock a ship out of warp.
Oh,
As
great.
for damage to subspace, you're not sure. The size, well, micro-singularities can be a problem, obviously, but the size of them restricts. Plus, the singularity is imploding in on itself, so it wouldn't be a
How?
permanent micro black hole. But it certainly wouldn't
This
help subspace.
This is where we need to converse with our legal officer about how does this imply with the whole environmentalism thing.
Well, basically, considering that like 100 isoton blast, you're leaving. If that was to be a permanent feature, that would be a feature probably in the region of like 900 kilometers across.
Yeah, it's not.
So micro is in quotation marks there for
Yeah,
the singularity.
it's fairly relative as far as the damage projection goes.
That's only 2 Navises long.
To ask a
Go on.
sorry, am I able to ask a question that isn't directly about the torpedo, especially as we've gone through the actual sort of like list of questions we did have
It's
from the
not
momentum
made
thing?
of moss.
No, I'm still playing Lieutenant Bravo. The Dr. Jabren said that we were going to a place that's on the edge of Takaran space. What space is it that it actually borders on the other side of that border if we're going to the edge?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that. Let's have a look.
Let's consult the maps.
Well, that either means
Right.
that either means it's a critical plot point that wasn't supposed to come out yet, or I'm asking about parts of the world he hasn't built yet. I've
Let me
done a lot of DM in the last 5 years.
Memory Alpha, what have you got for me? Takara sector was a region of space a few parsecs away from the border of the Alpha Quadrant, so there we are, just outside of the Alpha Quadrant. What is it bordering?
That's the wrong side.
Takara.
It always is when it comes to the Alpha Quadrant.
Takara,
Because the Romulan Star Empire is in the Beta Quadrant, as is the Klingon Empire.
If we believe certain maps.
Well, yeah, most of the certain maps get it right. I don't understand why the Federation is in the Beta Quadrant, not the Alpha.
To be fair, it's like
Apart from Star Trek.
Star Trek itself hasn't always been consistent on things like that.
Yeah.
So I feel that if it's somewhere else that needs to work for Matt's plot, it's just as easily believable as a captured Starfleet vessel can make a quick 2-hour trip to the center of the galaxy to meet God.
But what does God need with a spaceship?
Well, no, God might have a great use for a spaceship. Can literally travel half the length of the galaxy in a few hours.
I mean, considering, that everything in this area borders both all 3 Federation of Planets, Romulan Star Empire, Klingon Empire.
Yeah.
Whether it locally borders another isn't necessarily as politically relevant as that in the general sense this would be a singularity being created on the borders of those 3 empires.
I'm just saying, like, as an example, if it was near the if this is like a Romulan chapter, it's near the Romulan border.
Oh, absolutely, we know it is. Yeah,
It could literally be that we detonate the bomb, we get unable to go into warp, the Romulans sweep in and capture us, they take us off, and the report comes back to Starfleet that there was a terrible quantum torpedo accident and it literally destroyed the Navis.
This entire expanse is definitely nearby to the Romulan Star Empire, the Klingon Empire, and the Federation, because that's everything around in this area.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's like, if it's like cause it wouldn't, it wouldn't be the first time the Romulans have done sneaky crap like that.
Good lord, where would Takara be? Where could Takara possibly be?
It's a very small area. It's next to everything else in the expanse.
It's in a place that is close to things. If that's Cardassia, I'm gonna guess which way to. Right, there's the Romulan Star Empire. There.
I mean, if it's the Zenkethi, then it's a problem.
Would I be that predictable? I mean, really.
Then caffeine, home of the coffee empire.
I mean, the Autark is always miserable, so...
to go with a very solid yes. I didn't expect to look for it. That was rather low of me, but yeah, you're not close to Romulan space, certainly.
Yep.
It would take, it would take a goodly few hours to traverse enough space to get near the Romulan Star Empire from Takara, even the edge of Takara space. So
Just thought I'd ask the question.
yeah, you're not. It's not directly bordering the Romulan Star Empire to the point where you could just go, "Howdy, neighbor."
Now, Romulans, don't you look?
You're test firing this new torpedo, and there's literally 5 warbirds just sat looking at you.
Yeah.
Each
Yeah,
of them
it'll
like
be
crabs
fine.
from Finding Nemo. Hey, hey. Of course, everyone who was watching then saw me actually do the hand gestures for crabs. I get too into it when I'm starting to. Anyway, anything else? Anything that is else? All right then. Eventually, Dr. Jabren comes to the bridge. I'm assuming, of course, the captain has the captain and the XO have been apprised of everything that you've found and discussed so far. So
Yep.
they're obviously as weary as you are. They totally agree with the plan of keeping the shuttle on remote as far from the Navis as possible, just so that A, it can be monitored, and B, in case of bang, then you're out of any immediate danger. Shields on the shuttle up. Yeah, makes sense.
How about the plan for us kind of dragging our feet whilst sending on another of the runabouts to
Oh, right, yeah.
take a look at the freighter?
Yeah, sending somebody off to take a look at the freighter. You do actually find a derelict freighter at the coordinates that you were expecting. It is, if I can just find it. The crew that you send out confirm that there is a rather old and used Talarian bulk freighter. Looks like it's come to the end of its use. Sensor scans show nobody on board. This far out at the edge of Takaran space, there's little to no traffic, space traffic whatsoever. It's near some small asteroidal bodies that are just kind of lurking because there's no planetoids or anything else like here to capture them in any gravity. It's just basically rocks in space, too small to hide anything. So yeah, it's to all intents and purposes, it looks like a civilian transport freighter that's reached the end of its life. It's rusted in a few places. Its engine core has been taken out. There's no weapons on it. There's no life support. It's just an empty shell of a ship. And so, yeah, they come back, and as soon as they're in communications range, they discreetly report that they did indeed find a lone freighter, a derelict lone freighter, on its own, right where Dr. Jabrel said it would be. So, Dr. Jabren, of course, eager to get underway. Now, you did say you wanted to drag your feet a bit, so he's a bit concerned about how long it's taking, but then when somebody mentions that they're going as fast as the shuttle is going, that makes sense to him. The shuttle
Isn't going to be able to keep up ordinarily. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going very slow, probably like walk 1 even. at this point.
Damage control team standing by.
Yep. So you've got things in place. So that's cool.
And chief engineer in engineering.
Yeah. So Bravo go down to engineering as well and start potentially sort of preparing for interruptions to a warp field in case something goes wrong related to that.
Go.
I say that
Grab
purely
Control
because I just I say that purely because I just noticed one of his focuses is warp field theory, so it made sense.
Has his anxiety changed any now that we're on board the ship and heading out?
Starting to climb. I mean, he's controlling it well, but it doesn't take a telepath or an empath to see now that he's. I mean,
what could possibly be his ideal for this situation if things were just going to go ahead as he has proposed it? Because we get to the freighter, we send the torpedo in, it goes off. It is clearly not what he's told it is. There's no way that he waits all the time for us to do this and then goes, "Oh wow, look at that. That's odd."
anybody want to respond to that?
Quantum torpedo? I thought you said singularity torpedo. Doe.
Okay.
And this is why Bravo is in engineering.
Yes.
Security teams on standby, of course. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Doing that surreptitiously.
yeah. It may be worthwhile sending an encrypted message to Starbase, to the Starbase as well, advising that it may be worthwhile requesting a tour of the facilities because something about this is odd.
I'd send the sensor data as an attachment of what this thing actually is and all the
Yeah.
details we collected of it.
Encrypted to high heavens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just under the cap, running it past the captain first, and advising
Admiral's
to
eyes
say that
only.
that there's a potential that we don't want to detonate this.
Okay.
But for now, we'll wait for the Starbase's orders to come back and proceed with the mission as planned.
Alrighty. So,
But can we?
go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, can we request that it's both the Klingon and the Federation that see it and respond?
Yes.
Is the purpose of okay? I'm going to request a meeting aside for this with a theory that we're about to be framed for basically
War
destroying
crimes.
for destroying a Romulan ship. The explosion is going to suggest that we've destroyed not a abandoned freighter, Tellarite freighter, but a Romulan warbird.
The captain shares your distrust of the situation as is, certainly.
Is
Go on.
is Jabran on his own on board the ship?
Yes.
Perhaps, yeah. It will be there'll be a nice conversation, sort of like I think I might use my PTSD champion to kind of, if that's possible, to kind of offer to say something to offer him to relax, take him down to like 10-4 under the captain's permission, and then subtly begin kind of like trying to interrogate the information out of him with also the use of the ship's counselor.
On the other hand, just letting this play out to a certain extent, and then just it doesn't go off because we interfere with it. At that stage, he's probably just going to defect.
Yeah, I
Make
think
him
actually,
think it's
yes.
a dud.
Yeah, I think that might work better actually. Yes.
Yeah, make him think it's a dud. But then, if he does react that way, we can reveal as well that we know what it was.
So, state it for me. What's the plan?
We're going to stop it from going off when it's supposed to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go through the entire test, go through the entire sensor scan, do the entire thing, and then just conceal that we just don't allow the remote detonation to happen under any circumstances.
Are we sure we're not just being overly paranoid here?
No.
It's not paranoia if the Vulcans are really out to get you.
The Vulcans! Not the Vulcans!
She's starting to sound like the ambassador incident. We're faking a weapons test. It does not go well. It almost killed the Enterprise C.
It goes, well, here are the results of the thing that definitely was what it was supposed to be. It's a fake.
Yes. He did overact that bit slightly, but it worked.
Beautifully, yeah.
I do prefer the thing where you slice it with Cisco's. It's.
I didn't catch that, sorry. What was that?
I do like the edited version. We have the ROM and they go, "It's a fake," and then they immediately cut to Cisco in one of the other episodes going, "It's," with all the passion he can muster.
You peek out every time you do that. You just hear you go "it's," and then that's it.
It's real, but very, very high pitched.
It's real. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. From the Benny one.
Yep.
Of course. Okay. So you're going to proceed as if everything's fine and that's what we're going to do, but you're going to stop it from remote detonating. Cool. Alrighty.
I suppose at this point, Erienne is reassigned some of the duties. Otherwise, she's likely to blurt out something because
You can't lie.
keeping that sort of secret.
Yeah, that's probably a good point, actually.
Off to engineering we go.
Yeah. Send the ops officer.
Ah,
off to engineering.
Nova! I've got something for you. I've got a secondary I've got a secondary reactor filter that needs scrubbing. Here's a toothbrush.
Toothbrush, you bastard. What do I use for lubricant? Yes.
Fine, it's Andrew's toothbrush.
We live in a world of replicators. You don't keep any of your toiletries. You use them and then throw them back in when you're done.
Yeah, good point.
It explains why you never see a bathroom.
The sonic shower just does everything.
Wow, that's the mental image I'm not sure I wanted.
And the brown note is what the showers work on. And that's the rest of your mental image.
I get the poop question. Which I only know because that's one of the most recent episodes I saw of Star Trek Enterprise. Anywho's. Alright then. Let's move us.
Commander?
Okay.
I have no idea what else happened there. I jumped about 4 maps.
We're
So,
in space.
we're in space. So, just to get an idea of the size difference. This is, of course, the Navis, and there's your derelict freighter. So it's kind of teeny tiny. Fits in the Navis's pocket almost, kind of thing. So, yeah. So, yeah, no passing traffic. Yeah, good. I was about to ask if you could see your tokens, because just so you've got something you can view the play page with. All right. So yeah, sparkly space. You eventually arrive at the edge of Takaran space, and Dr. Jibran tells you to. Come on, man. Use your words. Dr. Jibran advises a certain distance in order to maintain a safe distance to the target. Now, the obvious disadvantage of remote piloting the shuttle here is that somebody needs to use the shuttle to then remove. They need to manually remove the torpedo from the shuttle onto the freighter. So, Dr. Jibren is, of course, curious how you're going to achieve this.
Faznan, you're up. Latude, teleport it across.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dr. Jibren advises against using transporters anywhere near the...
Damn it, Latude!
Just open the doors and just flick it out with momentum.
Can we not just send the red shirt over?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
Still
am
recommending a
confident.
kick.
I am
Well, yeah,
confident that Lieutenant Fazanen can do the just open the doors and flick it out using momentum maneuver.
I think it's awkward because I assumed Nova would stow away out of curiosity and do it.
You just
Well, I
sort of
hope
like
that
all the
Nova is wearing an EVA suit.
all the sensors on the shuttle just light up, and Nova goes, "Surprise, motherfucker!" Like, wait.
Did Nova
Go to hijack the hologram and put one on the bridge.
Why is the EMH in my engine room with a toothbrush?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's activate the EMH on the.
I don't believe a shuttlecraft has the computing power for an
Well, what we're
emergency
going to do is we're
hologram.
going to bounce him. We're going to bounce him off the deflector dish, and beam him to the derelict freighter.
Or-
I've not yet developed the technology for
Or-
the
Yes, somebody could give me either a daring or a control plus con task to safely get the torpedo to the freighter. If it's going to be Fazanan,
Yeah, I think it's definitely better.
okay, so let's see. He's got more control than he has daring, so
And that he has sense.
con. And he's got
still-
small
That's
operation, so he's got a focus.
We're going to stroke his antenna when he's doing it as well.
It helped.
It's like an evil genius stroking their moustache. 2 successes, so he gets one above what he needs. So once again, Fazanan displays his awesome piloting skills and managed to successfully steer the shuttle so that it docks perfectly with the freighter. Then he needs to safely place it in the hold of the freighter, which means he needs to do a control plus engineering check. Now his engineering is actually fairly decent, not as good as his con, but pretty decent nonetheless. Nothing else he can use here to use as a focus, so he's just going to do it normally. Okay, 2 successes. So yeah, Keval manages to successfully place the device in the hold of the freighter. So now
He's an engineering artist as well as a con artist.
and he pilots the
No, it
ship
was
back expertly.
Hiccup artist, you're...
Okay, so Keval returns to the ship with no problems whatsoever, and everybody awaits his re-arrival back on the bridge. Doesn't take him long, he just needs a couple of minutes to obviously round trip, and the round trip is impacted by him having to get into an EVA suit just in case. Your hand's looking a little heavy after that flying. Perhaps I should help you hold it.
someone mentioned pickup artist, and so Nova is
Taking it literally.
yeah.
Keval gives his best, winning the rock at the people's eyebrow.
Oh, what Keval is cooking.
Plus, you know, Keval's all kind of studly, so, you know. Yeah, so Keval manages to safely deliver the prototype torpedo to the freighter. And Dr. Jibren is on his feet at this point going, well, now that we've successfully delivered the torpedo, I suppose it's time we looked to safely activate it. Can we confirm, please, that we have everything ready to collect all the data?
Battle sensors online. Ship sensors online.
Engineering confirms no problems with ship's power. Not expecting any issues. Damage control standing by.
It's at this point, as everybody is like exchanging subtle glances to do the, yeah, we're wink ready, wink wink. And it's just at that point that Natala, you get a series of chimes on your console as sensors are detecting an increase in tachyon levels.
Recommend a broadcast on all channels, Captain, that we are preparing for a weapons test, and that any cloaked vessels should either make themselves known or scarce.
It's funny you should mention that because... Oh, where's it gone? Yes. 3 vessels decloak off of your port. I am upping the threat level. And... yes, Natala, you are reading 3 Klingon birds of prey have decloaked off your port. Threat level goes up. And I am going to spend 2 threat right the heck now to seize the initiative.
Okay.
And do it again. And do it again. As the birds of prey turn and start making a run on the Navis. Before you have the chance to say, and as you said, the Klingons are making an advance on the Navis, Captain. At that point, I am going to spend, let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Why's it gone up?
Because he's cheating.
Pardon me.
It's cheating!
2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm used to using the plus. I failed maths as a child. I
it's
got
because
the difference between plus and minus wrong.
No, Romulans use singularities to pound themselves, but Klingons use fret.
Okie dokie. Oops a daisy, that was from somewhere else.
There's a 4th.
Photon torpedo launches and hits.
Never assume that the number of Klingons that you see are the number of the Klingons that there are.
Right, these are Klingons. We know how to deal with Klingons. As soon as your turn comes, Andrews, go out and punch those ships in the face. That seemed to work normally against Klingons.
Sounds legit.
At which point the first torpedo hits with woo! Right. I hasten to note your shields are down.
Yep. Not for long, but you know.
Let's hope the ablative armor compensates.
Now, effects, that's high yield. I'm gonna pimp that one. I'm gonna pimp that to reroll all 7 days, because I want more than that. 8 yields. Right, so the ship.
The ablative armor's taking a paggering on that.
Yeah.
The ship takes a hit, a heavy hit, and everybody shakes as they see the lights flicker as the engines take a hit.
That's fine, we don't need
at which point, 1, 2,
engines.
3, 4 additional effects. High yield means an additional find that. Rules. Starship.
Aren't I
damage.
glad I had damage control team standing
Weapon, this flex massive energy dwarf reaches to fix an additional breach. So yes, with 4 effects, I create 5 breaches to the engineering section.
As we say, damage control teams were standing by.
Damage control team's flying out of window.
Right, shift, get on it.
So the engines have taken a number of breaches equal to the scale of the ship. The engines are disabled.
Okay.
That's
we get some
recorded
battle
as
music
a
now?
Damage report, and yes, absolutely.
I'd like to point out as well that we've still got 23.7 mice on board and 1 load of not prom.
Quick, distract me with the
Quick,
distract me
I
with
can
the
fix
contraband,
this!
wink.
See, I noticed that he didn't ring up the contraband, so that's clearly his.
Where's the music not playing?
Da, 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 da.
Excuse me while
I think we need to launch the worker bees at them. It's the only answer.
I have to shut down Sirenscape and start it again, so excuse me.
Quick. So
Yeah, I thought
Dr. Bertram will...
It's crashed.
Dr. Bertram's goes up. Dr. Bertram opens up her communication and starts boring them to death with moss facts. Not even Klingon cloaking devices can hide them from that.
Bertram, don't! You're making us a better target!
It's a distraction. When they come in to kill me for the moss comments, we're gonna have Andrews RKO their ships.
Yeah, it's just Andrew just blasts out in an EVA suit going, I got this, guys! Superman's through, Captain Marvel's through the ship.
So let me add the Klingons to initiative. Selves to initiative. Well, that didn't work. Because I'd already added you all as a preventative
Yay.
measure, and now I've de-prevented the measure by... I'm on form today.
One's good, right?
Yes.
Well, actually, the roll isn't important so much as...
Yeah, because
where
the
you
initiative
decide
in
to
this
place
doesn't work
yourself.
that way.
Yeah, so let's turn this down. I said let's turn this down a bit. Okay. So, yeah, I just need everybody to... Alright, so... Now, ordinarily, it would be player, NPC, player, NPC, player, NPC, player, NPC. However,
You
I
have to spend
have
a point of match.
hijacked the initiative. So,
Can I use my talent of quick to action? It's
Also hijack the initiative.
retaining the initiative though, but he took the initiative from us.
I'm going to put this guy up to 10. And I need... Let's see, I took the initiative. I took the initiative and I keep the initiative twice. So I am going to make it all crew number 9. And where's the rest of crew number 1? There he is. Have him be number 8. After that, who of your lot wants to go first?
I think it's probably me.
Okay, then Klingon, then whom?
I would,
Probably best to
Okay.
get the engineering up there.
yeah, I would probably say engineering next.
Yeah, go on then. It zoomed in on me, so I'll take it.
Let me see. So, if I can get right. So, Andrews, let's put
Trying to
you at
fix where the-
6.
Oh god, this is how combat works. Set part of this book is.
Who after Vibers?
Possibly Thazanon.
Yeah.
Okay,
If
so
we can get
let's
some
see,
engines
10,
back
I
manoeuvring, it'd be good.
Wait a minute. You want to be able to move? Oh, shit.
6, 5,
It's not essential.
4. So, fibers, where have you gone? You were supposed to be by there. So, who goes after Keval?
Either Natala or Nova.
Make a choice.
And we have
I'll do
also
it.
got the commander and the captain
Yeah.
in the initiative.
And the commander and the captain being command characters, they can either use their turn to try and create an advantage, or they can just do a general assist on any task, or they can just use their command skill to generate free momentum.
All of which I think are worthwhile putting near the end for knowing what we're going to need to do next round after we see things play out.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you say, keep them towards the bottom so that they can, at the start of the next round, they can push to try and win the initiative back.
So, pop. So, let me see. Trying to arrange this now. Keval, you're going to be there. So I'm going to change Keval's to be. If you're 6.5, this guy going to be.
There's not much point putting Keval ahead of Vibers when the
I'm
engines
trying
are
to
off.
organise it.
Yeah.
We had engines. We don't need them. They'll be fine.
You got 17 people, so it may be easy to just start at 17 and work down.
Bring your logic into this.
Sorry, mathematician, physicist.
Yeah, we've said this before with initiatives, and I believe there's a problem where you have to random roll and see what the highest number you get on your randoms is,
No, you
and then
can
work down
force
from
it.
it.
You can force it to roll to be a specific if you right click and it's. I can't remember about being on it in GM mode.
3.8, 3.7 can be you, 3.6 can be Nova, so that is the captain can be 2.9, Anaris can be 2.5, Bertram can be 2. Okay, so we have got Klingons. Then we should have Andrews. So let me make Andrews 7.5 just to get ahead of the Klingon guy. There we are. We have 7, then we have 6.9. Fibers should be 6.9, so if I make Klingon 6.8, we put Fibers as 6.9. Then we put Keval as 6.7. Natala as 5.9, let's say. Bop. This guy is then 5.6. This guy is 3.9. This we have 3. Fiddling! So much fiddling. Right, that'll do for now. Right, so Klingon number 1 fired photon torpedoes. Klingon number 2. Wind this back. Klingon number 2 is going to engage Helm and places that warbird between the Navis and the Freighter. 3 successes. I got 2 successes. 3 successes. That's exactly what I needed. Okay, cool. Next Klingon on Bird of Prey number 1 then uses Daring plus Engineering with focus to regain power. I got 3 successes, which means the ship gained 2. Oh, and he has a minor action. He turned up the shields, which quite well. Right, so what's happened to the Navis? You took an engine hit. The number of breaches that you have suffered is 5, which is the same as the scale of the vessel. If the total number of breaches the engine system has suffered is equal to the scale of the ship, which it is, then the system has been disabled. The engine system cannot be used to perform or assist any tasks, even those with a difficulty of 0. Loss of power generation means the ship loses 2 power at the end of every round. The difficulty to repair this is 5, and that may be replaced with an extended task. Now, whenever the engine suffers 1 or more breaches, normally it disrupts functions temporarily. The ship loses 2 power immediately. So that's 2 power gone already just from taking the hit. Internal systems so start to flicker on and off. Any
Right,
task to do
because-
with the ship's engines is now impossible.
Because I'm in engineering, when it comes down to me, I can attempt to repair it on a 4.
Yep, indeedly. But what you won't be able to repair the breach, but you will at least be able to try and repair the penalty that's going on.
Have the engine
Kickstart
back online.
So that's Klingon 1, 2, 3, and 4. Andrews.
Okay, I think it would be a case of red alert.
Okie dokie.
Oh, that does mean changing the bulb.
I think the first thing to do would be send out a priority wideband communication on all frequencies to advise that we are part of the task force associated to,
Commander station.
blah blah, what's it, station under direct command of both the Klingon High Command and the Federation Council, and that this is an act of aggression. Also sending out a emergency distress signal to the station.
You've got a minor action and a major action you can do.
Okay.
I will consider sending a message to be a minor action. So you can do one of, but not both.
Okay, so my first bit then would be my recommendation is that we address them saying that we're under the 3 ships as my minor action.
Okay. No need to make any kind of roll for that. That's a message that you're sending out to the Klingon ships. What about your major action?
Do we want to fire back on them?
You want to hold a fire back for if they fire again?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
You
we're
might want to shoot before while we still have the power to shoot.
yeah, that's one of those things.
Do we
is
want the shields up?
So
No, the red
shields
alert.
is more important.
Red alert is the shields go up. That's
A
what
minor
the red alert
action.
route.
You need to take a minor action to put the shields up. Now you've
Okay,
already
right,
made
well that-
a minor action.
Well,
So
I
if
said
you
red
want-
alert was my first action, so
Right.
that would
Okay.
be my minor action then, is red alert to
Yep.
raise the shields and bring the
Alright
weapons
then.
online.
That takes
I think-
1 power out of your power.
Okay, my major action I think is return fire.
Right. Okay. Which one?
Which one shot us? Number one.
One that's right ahead.
The one that's directly ahead of you. That takes 1 power also to shoot.
Are we going full quantum? We're firing back at them fully.
Right.
Are we firing before issuing the message? Seems counterintuitive.
Yeah, but I've only got 1 minor action, and if we
Now, if you want to have a
Couldn't
second
you use a
minor
major as a
action,
minor?
you can spend momentum to give yourself another minor action.
absolutely do that.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, we've
Alright
got
then.
6 momentum. Spend
One
the minor
momentum.
action to then issue the wideband communication.
Okay. So, you've used momentum to do a secondary minor action, so, yep, you've warned them. Aggression. on
Any
top.
any change in their pattern? Are they still
Well-
continuing to be aggressive?
You are holding your major action until they
Yeah,
fire on you again.
yeah, I'll hold my major action, but yes, the torpedo tubes are being primed, ready.
Okay.
Full spread quantum torpedoes.
I will make a note that torpedoes work better against unshielded targets.
But also quantums can breach.
Yeah, but the rules as written in Star Trek Adventures, torpedoes don't necessarily have the same. Actually, no. We'll see how it plays out. They don't always have the same punch, but in this regard, it might do actually, because you've got security pretty high. So, yeah, okay. Quantum torpedoes full spread. So you are arming quantum torpedoes. That's one threat to me. Full spread. There's another threat to me. You do have rapid fire torpedo launcher, which means that you can fire even more torpedoes than usual, which means that gives me an extra threat again. Okay. Because you are, by arming torpedoes, you are upping the ante. You can target phases. You can modulate phases to,
Basically, them seeing that many weapons come online, yes, it adds threat, but also it adds intimidation.
Yeah, it adds the fact that the Federation has claws of its own. If you're going to fire on a Federation vessel without any justification, the Federation vessel will fire back.
But what I'm also getting at is, with standard shipboard weapons, you can decrease the power so that you only fire to disable. But if you fire a torpedo, there are very limited ways.
Yes, but they were firing to destroy first. Without
Yes.
this is a breach of the Kittimer Accords by firing on a Federation vessel without justification.
So yeah, you are upping the
This
ante.
is this is Starfleet protocol kicking in. We have been fired upon by a hostile vessel without jurisdiction, and they are breaching.
Give them one moment in which to explain themselves, and if
Yeah.
they don't, just destroy them.
Yeah.
And anyway, first shot doesn't kill usually.
Ours might.
Ship number 3. Performs a slip maneuver while using a minor thing to bring up the shields. Uses a slip maneuver to get in closer to the freighter. Vipers.
Potentially dumb.
I'm checking something. Which is...
Right, so yeah, if I've actually put something you can use to help you. So if you all open up your character sheets, in Vibers' case, if you scroll right the heck down, you should see there are bits like text, blue text, but surrounded by white. Makes it very hard to actually read what it is, but they're actually links to the kind of actions you can take when you're in ship combat, according to the position you hold on the ship. Now there are usual actions. Where are they? Tasks. Shipboard tasks. Maybe I didn't put those in. But there are tasks anyone can perform when in starship combat. And I am just going to try and find it. Appears that I am failing. Final for me. Conflict, social conflict, combat. Starship combat. Minor actions. So, yeah, minor actions that anybody can take. Interact with an object in your environment. You can change your position, so you can move to any other station on the bridge. Prepare. You spend time setting up for a task.
Right.
Raise lower shields is a minor action. The restore action is also a minor action that anyone can do.
Okay, which one's that? Okay.
Anybody can assist. Anybody can try and create an advantage. You can pass. You can ready an action, which Webby did. You can try and override somebody else's action. So what was your idea, Davis?
Okay, so I'm going to use a change position minor action, and then I'm going to do a personally repair the engines
Okay.
under repairing damage. That's control plus engineering.
Alrighty. You have. Let's see.
I have warp field dynamic.
And EPS power systems and power systems. So
I can
you're all set for
definitely
focus.
count focus for that.
Absolutely doodly.
Okay, is it worth throwing a determination in on this?
That is entirely up to you.
It may be to get the engines back up online.
Yes, and is Bravo's not in the chain at the moment, is he?
No.
No, but he's considered to be on your staff.
Okay, so with the fact that I was in main engineering,
Yeah. That makes it somewhat easy.
You could have him assist on you or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
so I will.
5
that.
successes!
I didn't even need Bravo.
Wowza. Okay, yeah. So,
My engines purr like a kitten.
so
Engines come back online in less than a second of them being out. Virus
Well-
just like he just presses the on button and like.
so
No,
what happens is
He turns on his second engine that he's got hidden away.
so the ship is still going to lose 2 points of power at the end of this turn because of the sheer amount of damage it sustained this turn. The damage was enough to disable your engines, but using Vibus's knowledge of power systems, how to reroute power, how to get things working again, you have upgraded the damage from. Pardon me. You've upgraded the engines from disabled to damaged. So you've knocked it down a step. So this means now that the total number of breaches is blah 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 blah. This increases the difficulty of all tasks that involve or are assisted by the ship's engines by 2 until this damage step gets repaired. Further, the ship loses 1 power at the end of every round until this is repaired. That won't come into effect until the next turn. Alrighty, so Vibers has spent this entire turn basically. This is ship combat, so the amount of time is a bit nebulous. But yeah, he basically patches together the damage that was inflicted so that you have engines back, but they're not at full working capacity.
Captain, I've got impulse drive back. We'll try and get full functionality shortly.
Acknowledged. Right. Ship number 2. Who's next? So this guy is going to do. Yeah. No successes, so I'm going to spend threat to reroll that. I got a complication. Okay.
He shoots one of his own ships.
So, this guy positions himself, but he uses a little too much power in order to swing this beast around. So 1 power was made by raising shields, 1 power was definitely used at that, so he uses a point of power above what he needed in order to get the ship to that position. Keval Fazanan, right, what do we want the helmsman to do? His list of available tasks, he can either do helm tasks such as maneuver, which means he adjusts the position to somewhere within medium range. He can use evasive action.
Probably
I-
advisable.
I think the Klingons are moving between us and the freighter, which suggests that the target is the freighter, and more importantly, the bomb. So I would probably suggest that Bazan actually moves to bring the Navis between the Klingons and the freighter, if possible.
Okay, he can try.
It does put the fact that we're now being flanked.
Okay, he can definitely try that.
It would also put us within range of the explosion, because basically anywhere beyond those first two is probably within the radius of the detonation.
So, I'm going to roll for Keval using control and con. I'm going to want somebody, probably Gareth, to assist
Yep.
with the ship using engines and con. The difficulty for the ship using engines and con is going to be 1 greater.
Okay.
And this is also going to use 1 point of power, which I have just taken
Right.
off.
So, do I need to do anything other than assist there with the greatest
Nobody.
difficulty?
I'll let you roll first to see how well the ship can take it. No successes. So,
I'm starting to think the ship really hates its crew. It never gets any
Yeah.
successes.
No.
the ship at the moment, having its engine severely damaged, is proving difficult. So it's going to take all of Fazanan's skill to try and get around these guys. Now he has Helm operations as a focus. He is keep only the best traditions. Dynamic situations need to be mastered. Looking for adventure, greater goodness to acknowledge individual suffering. So we'll just go with his focus and see how well he does. Do you want to spend a momentum to re-roll that?
Yes.
I think we do.
Alright, momentum gone. Re-roll both dice. 2 successes. Right. Sadly, the Klingons have positioned themselves in such a way that they counter the movement of the Navis to try and get itself between them and the ship. So the two that position themselves between the Navis and the freighter maintain their position. So even though Keval is a really good pilot, the fact that the engines are juddering makes it difficult for him to execute the maneuver as well as he would normally do, and the Klingons have positioned themselves so that they are a barrier between the Navis and the freighter.
Vibers, more power.
Next Klingon ship.
Give it up, she's God, Captain!
So this guy is going to fire. No, the Navis has got its shields up, so there's no point in doing anything there. But
Power management is a Nova problem.
yes, indeed.
Yep.
Speaking of, I'm going to spend a point of threat in order to activate a certain special ability that I will reveal in just a moment. But first things first, let's see if the Klingons can actually hit the ship. So this is ship number... Let's see. Where are we on? Number 3. Actually, this is the wrong ship. Ship number 3 is this guy over here.
The other one who's in contact with the
The
freighter.
one who's encountered that. So he's actually not doing that, he's doing something else. What is it? It's going to be control plus science, aided by his ship. So that's 1 success, and the ship aids with sensors plus science. No successes. Okay. You don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it. Natala.
I would like to. So far there've been no responses that we're aware of from that initial hail. Rather than pushing that, I would like to scan for weaknesses on
May
on
I
Andrew's
whip-
next target,
Actually, yeah.
which is control science, I believe,
And that will
aided
be
by
aided by the ship's
sensor security.
Sensors and security. Yes. So Gareth, if you want to do with the ship, sensors and security, aiding Natala's attempt to perceive a weakness. 2 successes. 3 successes. So how much was needed to find a weakness?
Standard difficulty is 1, increased by range.
So it will be 1, so you got 3 overall, so you gain that max momentum back.
Basically, for Andrew's, add piercing 2 to your next attack.
Yeah. Incidentally, with that extra momentum that you got that you couldn't add to the pile because you're already at max, as well as getting sensor information back to notice a good place to shoot, whilst scanning the ships, you notice they are all of the same make, but it's the markings on them that attracts your attention.
Yeah, which house is this, and how are they related to?
House Duras.
Okay.
Who here doesn't know what that means? He says, looking at the screen.
Hello, traitors, my old friend.
But that's currently what
Right.
Natala can do for now.
Okay, so if Natala's confirmed that they're Juris and they're traitors, that means they're no longer part of the. They are annexed. Well, they're isolated from the Klingon High Command, which means they're fair game.
Do you want to take your action now?
Fire.
Is anyone going to stop me?
Nope.
I think my announcing that they're House Duras might just give me the confirmation you've been waiting.
Yep. Hey, number 1, how you doing?
All right.
I would
Sweet.
like to.
Yep.
So each special that you roll on this is going to add to, is going to reduce their resistance by 2, on top of what you'd normally do.
Right, so which one is it? It is that one, and it is quantum torpedoes. What is it for the rapid fire torpedo launcher? How does that work on the
Well,
torpedoes?
you're basically going to use control plus security to make your attack to see if you hit, and we'll go from there.
So me attack security.
Yeah, aided by the ship's
Which one?
weapons
Which
and
one?
security.
Control security.
Control security for you.
Battlefield tactics. Does that kick in?
Absolutely.
Or Starfleet protocols? Yeah.
Battlefield tactics will do fine. Gareth, if you want to aid with the ship's, what did I say was weapons and security?
Like so.
Now you're firing torpedoes.
I'm going to spend a momentum.
Yeah.
Let's re-roll that.
Double complications. Oh my!
You don't open the torpedo tube when the torpedoes are fired.
Do not press the detonate button. Press the
If that's
fire
two,
button.
Successes
if that's
on
two
top of
complications,
one
it's detonate wrong
is 3
torpedo.
Successes. 3 successes is what you need to successfully hit with a torpedo. Now, this is a spread of torpedoes, isn't it? It's a rapid fire, boom, 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 boom kind of
Yeah.
jobby. So, whereas what is it?
Even if you just
Spread.
assume 3, we've got 15 torpedo tubes. That's 45 torpedoes.
So, vessel slot is multiple. You may re-roll a single d20 on the attack. You've scored 3 successes, so you've got exactly what you needed. You may re-roll a single d20 on the end, and any number of challenge dice on the attack roll. So, when you roll for quantum torpedoes, it's... what was it? Salvo salvo fire adds 1 to the number of dice that do damage. So when you click quantum torpedoes, it should be 9 rather than the 8.
When it give you an option for adding the piercing tool, what if we have to do that manually?
I'll remember. So, quantum torpedoes.
With 5 effects, that's 10 less resistance. That's probably no resistance.
Calibration, meaning it needed to be calibrated first, which was a minor action. By now you'll have accumulated enough momentum to have gotten back to full anyway, so I'm going to waive that for now. High yield, okay. Vicious 1, so that's 5 vicious. Righty ho then. So that's 7, 12, and resistance was less than that. So each one of those was adding the piercing, wasn't it?
Piercing 2.
Yep.
Piercing 2.
Yeah.
So 5 lots of piercing 2 and vicious. Yeah, so it has no resistance. And so that's 7, 8, 9.
That's 12 breaches.
12. Well, that's 12 off, so that's all of his shields gone. 9, leaving 3 breaches on a randomly determined location.
It's got no health, has it not? It's dead.
Hold on.
That's shield, isn't it? Bottom shield.
Shields have
Yeah.
gone.
Oh yeah.
So now I do a random system hit. I think. No way. It works differently with NPC ships. Hold the phone. It was something to make it even easier to manage. Cover and concealment, damage and repairs. Warp core breach imminent. Apologies for the wait. Right, NPC starship damage. Instead, apply the following effects. Whenever the ship suffers 1 or more breaches, it loses a single turn during the next round. This is not cumulative, it also loses 2 power. Klingons off the starboard bow. Yes, indeed. Thank you, chat. So, this suffered 3 breaches, which was the same as its. It loses a single turn on the next round. It also loses 2 power. If the total number of breaches the NPC ship has suffered is equal to or greater than the scale of the ship, then it has been significantly damaged. This increases the difficulty. If it's disabled, if its number is equal to the scale of the ship, then the ship has been disabled. Fully operational. Total number of breaches the ship has suffered exceeds the ship's scale. So, yeah, you've disabled that ship. Shields down, power down. There we are. Ship number 1 has now been effectively neutralized.
Is there anything that anyone recommends I do as a miner?
I think we haven't actually contacted the starbase, have we?
No.
There you go. I think that should be a minor action. Say that
Yeah,
we've come under attack by House Juris.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll word a quick message indicating that we've been attacked by Asturas in the middle of the test, and when it basically flip that to the captain's desk to just be sent.
Okay. I am gonna spend threat to give these guys another action as this guy is Alright. Natala. You get another alert as you detect transporter activity on the third Klingon ship next to the freighter, before it then engages warp drive and flies off.
Aren't the freighter's shields up?
Nope, there's no shields on the freighter. It was derelict.
Oh, it was, but the shuttle was up, wasn't it? But,
Got to out, sure.
yeah.
Now, just to clarify something, I thought the only thing that was stopping the bomb from detonating was our interference code at this stage. That he'd already pressed the button to detonate, and we had already stopped it.
Hadn't gotten that far, actually.
Okay.
Can we attempt emergency detonation?
Not at the moment.
No.
Nova's
I just wanted to make sure that this Klingon vertebrate isn't going to go to warp and immediately explode. That's all I just wanted to.
Nova. Right, so, yeah, if you scroll down to the bottom of your notes, you've got sensors and internal systems. As Ops Officer, internal systems is one of your jobs.
Yeah.
So,
How big of an action would it be to transmit a detonation signal?
you were breaking up there. What was the signal you wanted to send, sorry?
The detonation signal to the...
You want to actively send the detonation signal. That would be a minor action because it was already prepared.
Excellent. So my major action then, first of all, will be to use daring and engineering, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
To what end?
For power management, so I'm going to forcefully reroute power around the damaged systems in ways that it shouldn't be normally going, but in a way that'll stop power shorting out essentially through the damaged systems.
Yep, indeedy. So you can gain some power back.
Engineering. Have I got anything? No, not really. Oh, I've got inner workings actually for a focus.
Yeah, I'll allow that. Ship gains a point of power plus an additional point per momentum spent. So you got 2 successes, which was exactly what you needed, which means that you gain a point of power back for the ship. Woo.
So if people would like, I can spend momentum at this point to get us some more power, using a little more power. If we
I
need
do
it.
one.
1 momentum to get an additional point of power.
I think it's worth it.
Alrighty. So Natala expertly using her power management experience to shunt power from various places.
It's worth noting at this stage that both Matt and Webby have a tendency of saying Natala when they mean Nova.
Yes, I just noticed that, thank you. I noticed that earlier, I don't realise I'm doing it. It's because you have lieutenants and they both start with N. And they're both in science.
So we've got Lieutenant Natala.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. And Minor was going to be sending the detonation signal.
Yeah, I'm sending the detonation signal. Presumably we were already focused on the thing itself, so we've got some kind of lock to focus it at.
You don't know at this point, but you can certainly transmit the detonation message.
Yeah.
No problem. Bird of prey number 2. Well, this guy just saw you disable the other ship with a load of quantum torpedoes, so I'm going to spend threat again. This guy is going to... Yep. Spend power, and this guy is warping out as well. So, yep, into warp. Right, I'm going to throw
wish to pursue.
Because next up is the captain. At which point,
Do I think I can make see whether their trajectories are similar?
okay, well, it's the captain's turn foist. So the captain, let me think.
Probably order. What is
Yeah,
it?
order.
The bird of prey that's here. Is it still actually alive, or did it go pop?
You managed to disable it.
Yeah, I think we put it in a tractor beam.
So, yeah, Captain Ducasse issuing orders. Put the Klingon vessel in a tractor beam. I want somebody to give me the. Projected course of those Klingon vessels. And I'm gonna make the captain give me. Let me just do something. I'm gonna make the captain give me a.
You could do a demand surrender
Insight
communication.
plus security test. Got no talents or focus issues on this. I'm just going to see what she does. One success. Yeah, so she says she has your orders. Trap that Klingon in that disabled ship in a tractor beam. Project their course. Dr. Jabren, and she looks to the seat where he was sitting. Where's Jabren? As she notices that Jabren has gone. But that's all she can do for the moment. The Klingons have gone. Commander Linares goes, computer locates Dr. Jabren, at which point the computer issues, Dr. Jabren is in turbo lift 3.
Shut down turbo lift.
Yeah. Deactivate turbo lift.
Yeah, and Andrews will then pipe up and say security team turbo lift 3.
Yep. No problem. And Dr. Bertram, you're getting some reports from engineering that there were some people injured.
I was going to ask if 'cause the sickbay task allows me attempt to basically give them a department that's had breaches assistance essentially.
Yep.
With a daring plus medicine task, we're assisted by the by the ship's computer plus medicine.
So if somebody wants to do the ship, Webby maybe.
Yeah.
Computers plus what was it? Medicine.
Computers plus medicine.
So that Doc can do his thing.
Will surgery count as a focus for this? As it says, it's literally getting people healthy so they rush back.
Yeah, biology would also be good.
Okay.
One success from the ship.
Hey, the ship likes me. It's just you that doesn't like her.
Yeah.
So,
Funnily enough, the ship always gives me sort of like successes, but only when I'm firing weapons. Yeah. I think it
this
said
will be
that
minor
difficulty
crew
was
injuries throughout the ship, which medical personnel can deal with quickly patching up wounded, sending them back to their posts. Characters in sickbay can choose a single department, attempt to deliver difficulty of 2. So you got 4 successes overall,
6.
so that's 2 bonus momentum. And it's at that point that something happens and main power goes offline.
I did touch it! What did you do to my ship?
Emergency power flicks on, but the ship is now dead in space for the moment.
Right, okay. Andrews will be would request to take the Carpathian and the Californian to go and get the prevent the Burrell bird of prey from escaping.
As you're about to do that, with backup power, you're still able to get certain functions, and being at the sensor station, Natala,
Yep.
you
What am I
get
getting here?
indications that there are warp signatures inbound to your location. As a number of Takaran security vessels come out of warp. And you are being hailed.
Indeed.
At which point the captain goes, well, actually, it's 10 o'clock. So that means this is where we leave the episode.
Cliffhanger.
So, yeah.
we need to tell our we need to tell our helmsman when he gets back. So, you know that ship that you really liked? We broke it.
So yes, what is going on? Klingons from the House of Duras? Quantum torpedoes that may or may not be based on Romulan technology? Dr. Jabren has gone missing during the battle, and he's now trying to get out via a turbo lift. Power has gone out. What is going on? Unfortunately, we'll have to find out the answer to that next week.
What prompted this Takaran security to actually come here, considering that they would have had to leave, you know, an hour ago at least. You know?
Intriguing.
Yeah. See, I'm going to ask: was it the real Dr. Jabara at all, or was it the shape-shifting Captain Kirk?
I'd like to point out that the Takaran that they meet in TNG is Dr. Joe Brill. So when Matt mentioned it, I'm just like, suspicious.
I didn't write this thing.
It's like the initial ideas for Vulcans was that they would all be named something beginning with Sput and ending with K. The Spock, Spack, Spick, and Speck.
And then someone said, eventually we're going to get a parody with Mr. Spunk.
At which point they realised their mistake and went against what they were going to go with.
Yeah.
Midshipman Spunk.
So everything begins with K.
Well, for
Has
those
apostrophe
watching
in it.
the stream, thank you very much for attending, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And we will carry on this episode, hopefully with Jan, our helmsman, back next week. So yes, tune in for more shenanigans as we find out what happens next. Bye!